fights on TMG Entertainment. I am your host, Nikki the Arsenal Sullivan. And I'm here on this side of the table, but I'm not playing today. I'm hosting this match. And it's going to be a good one. We got we got judges here, and we got players, and we've got questions. And we're going to debate. Everybody ready to debate?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're ready to debate. Okay, great. So, first, let me go over to you, Alan. Alan, you're judging tonight, right?
I am.
Okay, great. How do you feel about these competitors that we have here?
These competitors are fantastic. I've had bouts with both and partnerships with both. So it's exciting to be judging them. It's always good to watch them battle it out. They've always got great ideas and bring the pain, so to speak. All right.
Okay. And I was supposed to go to the contenders first. Ruben, okay, here we go. How you doing? I'm glad I'm not playing you tonight because last time you really kicked or I don't know if that aired.
You were my first knockout. I'm really glad to be here. I'm excited to play Ryan. I think he's a one lucky son of a bitch being in a contenders match already. No wins on his record. Meanwhile, I got my 2 wins against 2 of you guys on the judging panel today.
Yeah,
no, I'm excited to be here. I like everybody on this call. There's one person I haven't met yet, Ruben. I don't know you. Hi, nice to meet you. Everybody else I like. I got my ass kicked by Grant. I faced off against Alan, Nikki, and Ryan. I know of him, and this is my first time facing off against him. So pumped to go. Let's do it. It'll be exciting either way.
All right, and next we're going over to Ryan. Ryan Payne, how you doing, man? I've played against you. I've lost against you, I think. Or I've judged you. I'm not really sure which.
I believe you have judged me, but I think the times we played against each other was on trivia to where
I'm always judging you.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's not. No, it's not a shock. Some people who I've had matches before, they mainly judged me to where I can never convince them. But other than that, I mean, a part of me was slightly offended by Ruben Colon, but at the same time, he is right. I am lucky. I'm part of a number one contenders match. But at the same time, I have had opportunities at title shots in late TV fights. I came close for a number one I did a number one contenders match against the Nerd Fights champion Sean. So I have been across from him and I know what to expect. And as much as I've seen Ruben play, I know he is fantastic. He is definitely straightforward down. But to be honest, Sean, I'm looking for vengeance against him after he beat me in chokeslam. And the fact that he's the champion hopefully makes this victory much sweeter. Like I said, hopefully, because I have no idea how this is going to go. And I'm not going to take you lightly, Ruben. I judged your match against Grant. You are dangerous. But hopefully you've judged some of my matches so you definitely know exactly how dangerous I am.
All right, Ryan, lots to say there. And we already talked to Alan. Let's introduce our next judge, Grant Gregory. Grant, how you doing, comic book lad?
Yeah, pretty excited to be here. As Ruben already mentioned, we've had our match, and Ryan's judged me a number of times, so it's about time I can get some of that sweet, unbiased vengeance on him. But no, it'll be good. I'm really looking forward to it. I know Ryan's very knowledgeable, and after playing against Ruben, I know he does his research, and he can definitely think on the spot. So if this comes down to the last question, it's going to be fun and interesting because the questions so far I really enjoy.
It's tough. And our next and final judge, Amaru Moses. How you doing today, Ru?
I'm doing all right. My name is very difficult to pronounce at times, but I'm doing good. It's late over here, but I'm ready. I'm the one judge Ruben hasn't beat, but that's because I haven't had the pleasure of actually seeing me compete in much yet. But y'all see me at some point. But I have watched Ruben. Nikki, I'm sorry I saw Ruben kick your ass. So that's what I saw. And
it was a closer match than the score indicated.
And then Ryan, I haven't seen him debate except for when he's debating questions on other channels with trivia. So I know he can do that. So I'm very excited.
Yes, myself, I have beaten Ryan in trivia before in a free-for-all once. And now we'll go to our first question without further ado. Well, first we're going to read the rules because we all need to know how to play the game. Opening round, 90 seconds. Closing, 60 seconds. And then there's the 5-minute debate round in the middle. competitors have the option of a 1-minute extension. Please give the extension with some time left in the round, preferably before the round even starts if you want to know that you want to use it. But I mean, we could be lenient here if you want to, if I can. And competitors, and are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, judges, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, then let's get ready to nerd fight. Okay, our first question in the category of James Bond. James Bond, everybody. The question is, what previous Bond film title should be remade or reused? After Casino, in parentheses, after Casino Royale was reused from the non-Eon film, apparently. I did not know that. So, whose strength was this, by the way? Just want to be sure for the audience.
Mine. I picked
Ryan's strength. So, Ruben, you go first in this round, correct? So, here we go. Ruben, without further ado, 90 seconds on the clock. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so straight up honesty, James Bond wasn't something I was expecting in this league. So I had to seek out a good friend of mine, Mr. Hot Fuzz himself, Joe, for some input on Bond films. And he helped me kind of narrow it down, figure out what film would actually make a good remake for different reasons. The first thing I was looking for is something that would be different and something that would be unique and make a really good sequel to the new Bond films that are out already. The second thing I was looking for is something that was profitable in the past and could be profitable once again going into the new franchise. And without a doubt, the only thing that first comes to mind that checks off both those boxes for me is A View to Kill. There's a lot to say, a lot I'll go over during the debate round, but those are the things that I'm looking at specifically as profits and something different that we haven't seen already. And I will concede the rest of my time.
Okay, quick first round for Ruben in this first question. Okay, Ryan, whenever you're ready, the clock is yours.
I guess most likely in this situation when it comes with Bond, the title mainly with a Bond film, it not only sets the precedent of what we're going to go through within the Bond movie, but at the same time, comparing with Bond movies out of the past of Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Dalton, Brosnan, and George Lazenby, sometimes the title can be just like a nice little cheeky like one-liner that can be dropped in. So the title I thought that could be reused is You Only Live Twice. That movie, I mean, with the Bond 25 movie coming out titled No Time to Die, I mean, You Only Live Twice seems like a good title to be used for the next actor who becomes Bond. Or if for some reason how successful the movie is and James and Daniel Craig wants to continue, this could maybe be his last one to do, because You Only Live Twice sounds kind of nice, not just for a one-liner, but something that fits his Bond character, someone who's either going to retirement or who's constantly facing his mortality. And, you know, I don't want to keep talking. I just want to get into this, so I'm going to end my time.
Okay, quick first round. Both players didn't use all their time. You only live once, but there's no time to die. Okay, middle round. We got 5 minutes on the clock. Guys, when you're ready, fight each other. Nerd fight. Here we go. Bond.
After you.
Okay. Well, the thing with You Only Live Twice is that if, like I mentioned in my opening, it would fit with the mortality of Bond's character, because in the Sean Connery You Only Live Twice, it opens up with his character being killed, although it ultimately revealed that he faked his death for him to go undercover. And for something that fits the spy genre, I think that would work. Like I said, if Daniel Craig chooses to continue after No Time to Die, this could be a situation to where he would, he fakes his death because his character has gotten some notoriety, and he uses this opportunity to do one last mission. His character is officially acclaimed to be dead, so then he can do this mission, and then hopefully at the end of it, this can be like a nice send-off for his character. I'm not sure how A View to Kill would kind of work. I mean, the title does sound nice though, but comparing to how the movie being Roger Moore's final send-off it didn't fit the tone of the Roger Moore franchise.
Great. Well, so thankfully for us, that's not what this is about, and what's a better send-off for either one of these actors, or if it's a great entrance for an actor. What this is about is what's actually going to make a good movie in the new franchises for James Bond to come. And the issue I have with your film directly is that I believe Spectre was actually a very, very big part of your film. Whereas it was there was a movie that was already named after. There was a big focus on it already, and it was actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was the last Bond film that came out. So there was already that. And then on top of that, you're also looking at, you also got to consider what's more important than just the title of the film is profits. And the fact is that my film made almost I want to say it beat your film by $50 million, if I'm not mistaken, $50 million. So obviously, and it was a story that was well enjoyed. It was it was a great send off for Roger Moore. I 100% agree with you. But that's because it was a great film overall, and it was a profitable film. Your film,
I would kind of question it being a good film, but go right ahead.
You can question all you want. Go ahead, because for me personally, your film, like I said, there's a lot of confusing stuff that happened with your film. I believe there was people betraying people that made no sense, and then I want to say,
the thing with people betraying that fits the spy genre. I mean, sure, Bond.
Oh no. Good.
Well, it fits. I mean, look. People betraying people, it would fit with the spy genre. I mean, with Connery's film, if you wanted to find some things that you didn't like about it, I can find a lot of things in A View to Kill I didn't think was good. Absolutely. I mean, as much as Christopher Walken would be a great choice as a Bond villain, he didn't seem to gel with the actual story, or at least he didn't gel enough, because he gets overtaken by Grace Jones, who plays Mayday in that movie, while with You Only Live Twice, sure, Sean Connery is the main focus, but this also introduces the character of Blofeld. While, yes, it does lead to a lot of parroting forward on, which goes into the Roger Moore era, but it still stays forward as a good straight spy movie, to where Bond goes undercover to try to end a debacle.
Your biggest selling point are the actors. You're criticizing my actors in my movie and saying how great your acting performance was in your movie. That has nothing to do with a franchise that's not going to use any of those same actors again. The main part is the story and the profits. Those are the things that you're going to look at whenever you're trying to come up with a new Bond film. The only way the
profits will happen is if you get good actors. But go ahead.
But that's my point, is that you're criticizing Christopher Walken as a Bond villain when he's not going to be the one that's going to be portraying this. They're going to be a whole new actors. They're going to bring new people. That doesn't matter. What matters is what the story was there. You admitted the story was good. The actors. Fine, okay. I will gladly admit Christopher Walken was not a great Bond villain, but the character of him is something that can be used and done by someone better. There's plenty of actors that would make great Bond villains nowadays, and I honestly think that you take one of those actors and put them in a Bond movie like my movie, and it will do well, because one, like I said, the story's already good. The profits are there to make a film do well. It's proven that it's done well. And then you change up the actors, so your biggest critiques for my film is being fixed easily, because those actors aren't going to come back. Those actors will not be seen again.
Okay, I mean, sure. Okay, I mean, look, when we come down to it, I mean, actors not being seen again. Look, the one thing that the Bond movies always people remember is the fact that the acting portrayals. I mean, with You Only Live Twice, you had Donald Pleasance as the reveal of being Blofeld. You had Sean Connery doing a great job as Bond. I'm not going to butcher any of the Japanese actors in this movie, because Jesus Christ, I don't want to come off ignorant. But just that portrayal itself, as you see, I mean, let's say, for example, this is not going to involve Daniel Craig. Okay, we introduce, this can be the second or third title in the newest Bond installment franchise. And let's say we have, for my Bond, fucking hell.
Okay, fucking hell, judges, fucking hell is not part of his argument. Just, I said time before he said that.
Oh,
okay. Crap. Grant, I'm going to go to you first. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We still have another round to go before we start judging people. All right, since we started with Ruben, Ryan, you close first, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Ryan, closing argument, 60 seconds on the clock when you're ready.
I drew a lot of comparisons with Daniel Craig's Bond era because they reused Casino Royale in order to reintroduce Bond to a new generation, also trying to mesh well with the old generation. You Only Live Twice can be the same thing for the next generation, for the next actor who plays Bond. In my mind, I could see Tom Ellis, the actor who played Lucifer, as Bond. And You Only Live Twice, as I mentioned before, the story can be written in itself. Bond's death, Bond fakes his death, and, to avoid all the conspiracy, the notoriety that's come with him as a status of a 00 agent, which allows him to go undercover and be able to do the spy missions, to do the dirty work that MI6 needs him to do. And although at the same time, you can introduce new villains, you can introduce love interests that can lead into a story of betrayal, of allies betraying allies, Bond being betrayed by love interests. It definitely fits perfect with the themes, or at least with the tropes of the Sean Connery, Roger Moore Bonds, even the Pierce Brosnan Bonds as well, to where they get a love interest. Turns out they betray him because they have an allegiance with the villain, and with the Bond villain themselves, they can set themselves as a okay.
Okay, good closing argument by Ryan. Ruben, it is your turn. Defend your pick.
Yeah, once again, Ryan's focusing most of his attention on, actors that can play Bond, actors that can play the villains. Right now, that really doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to what we're trying to answer, is what film will make a great Bond film. And I can point out Casino Royale. None of their actors returned for the remake of Casino Royale. So really his criticism towards my film are walking and stuff. That doesn't matter. My film has a great story. It has a great relationship. You get to see Mayday. Mayday was actually a redeemable character near the end of the film, sacrificing himself at the end. You see a villain character, may not have been portrayed correctly, but that's when you bring in a better actor to do, or not better actor, but a different actor to portray in a different way. You want to talk about people that can play Bond? Well, I immediately think Taron Egerton, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, from the Kingsman franchises, who I can picture as a younger Bond in this film, and it would mesh well because he's inexperienced, and you can see him making mistakes throughout the film and improving from those mistakes. I think that Ryan's film is a film that
Time.
A little too. Oh.
We'll go to you first, Grant. What do you think? Which one answered this question better? Which Bond story should be adapted again?
For me, I felt like it was pretty cut and dry. One person said why it should and why it would make a better remake. My point is going to Ruben. I think Ryan was a little bit more bogged down with the original and why the original was bad. But the beauty of remakes is you can remake how you want. I think Ruben just hit on a few more points, mentioned more about profitability, and that's probably more of a reason why a film's going to get made. So that was the bit that just edged it out for me in the end. And so Ruben gets my point.
Okay, 1 point for Ruben. And let's go over to you next, Alan.
Both argued very well the usages of the title. At the very beginning, both opening statements were how the title would be well utilized. I think Ryan had a better reusage of that title in that sense, but then Ruben came hard with the profitability and the way it would be profitably and making sense by remaking that title. And again, and not getting hung up on the original film and saying there'd be all new people portraying these characters and telling the story. So Ryan, you fought very hard, but Ruben, I'm going to give it to Ruben just because he squeaked it out just a little bit more.
Okay, so Ruben is taking this round regardless, but I want to hear from everybody. Rue Moses, who would you have given your point to?
So it wasn't as cut and dry for me because I actually really liked both points that were argued. I really liked Ryan talking about how they could reuse it in the way the movie and the franchise is set up now and why it makes the most sense. And Ruben's argument also made a lot of sense in terms of profitability. What really put it over for me was the fact that Ruben was able to counter argue basically everything Ryan came up with. And even though both arguments were solid, Ruben was able to come back and really explain why his argument or his title would be a better fit in general over Ryan. So my point would have gone to Ruben as well.
Okay, and Ruben with a clean sweep of the judges table in the first round. Thought you guys both had great arguments, but now we need to go on to the second round where our category is Pixar, the animated realm of Pixar. And our question is, Since Disney is doing live-action remakes of old cartoons, which Pixar film should get remade into a live-action remake first? All right, since Ruben, we went with you last time. Ryan, we're going with you for the first round this time. 90 seconds on the clock whenever you're ready.
Now, if Pixar ever does go into the area that Disney is by remaking their animated movies, I would choose the movie Brave. Now, the movie Brave does fit. I mean, while it's not exactly what people would imagine, because some people would prefer Toy Story or Cars, like, you know, you see all the fan chats, but Brave is the logical choice because the story of itself. I mean, it's a princess's tale. It's a story of, it's a coming of age story of trying to figure out who you are, what kind of what path you want to forge in life. And at the same time, if they are following within the coattails of Disney, it would match because Disney has remade Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, and also the location setups that you would see in Brave using the country of Scotland. It would be something magnificent to do. And also, we're going into another culture within the Scottish heritage, and also this can be set as a period piece, so we don't need to we can still be set in reality, but it doesn't need to be too close to where we can suspend our disbelief. And I'm going to end it right here.
Okay, Ryan conceding the rest of his time. Ruben, over to you now. Which Pixar film would you choose? Whenever you're ready. 90 seconds on the clock.
So I'm going to start off by saying I agree with Ryan completely. I think that Pixar probably shouldn't remake any of these into live action. But if you were going to go with a Pixar film that should be made into a live action film, then it should be something that can actually translate into a really well live action film, and something that is a little bit different, but however has something to it that can make their viewers enjoy it and not criticize it like a lot of Disney properties. And something that's different and unique like that would be The Incredibles. The Incredibles is a strong Pixar franchise. It has beloved characters, and it has great scenery. It has a futuristic element to it. So it kind of changes things up as far as stuff that has been done to live action with Disney properties before. Honestly, right now we live in a day and age of superhero films. Superhero films are popular. That's the big buzz right now. So bringing in a live action Incredibles is a perfect time right now. Fantastic Four dropped the ball. Incredibles, here you come in. You can actually show how it's done. I can see the rest of my time.
And Ruben's conceded his time too. Both contestants getting in under a minute for their first round. Now we're going on to the second round in this question. Guys, 5 minutes on the clock. Whichever one of you starts first. Brave versus The Incredibles.
Okay.
Let's see what you got.
So I'll start this one off first. So actually, I'm not going to lie. I consider both of these films. I think these films are the two biggest options considered. My biggest drawback for not choosing Brave is the fact that Brave actually is a princess film. We've seen it. We've seen many princess films being made into live action. So it's being done a lot before. You bring up the fact that the scenery. My film has a great scenery, has a futuristic scenery, has something different, a new world. And then one of the biggest drawbacks for me for Brave, why I didn't go with Brave, is the fact of the animation. Like, you're going to have to do something similar to what you did with Lion King with the facial recognition of the animals and film like the bear and Mordu and stuff. And that did not get a great review at all. And Lion King's profitable because it's Lion King. But that film, like the CGI animation, it was just pretty much god awful to watch, and it ruined that film for me personally.
The thing was, and there is that tricky subject with the Lion King, but the difference is with Brave, though, the Lion King was relying entirely on animals. With Brave, yes, the CGI will require to be used for the bear, for the Will-o'-the-Wisp, and for the demon bear Mordu. Jesus Christ.
Mordu, yeah.
Yes, the demon bear Mordu, and that's where the focus is going to be. Everything else is going to be practical with the characters of Merida, like I said, the landscapes within the Scottish lands, and also we're going to have physical people there. We can cast Scottish actors, or we can definitely take this movie to where it can not cost as much as something as an Incredibles would be. And you talk about how princess movies we've seen a lot. You just mentioned superhero genre is in the now, so and there's always those constant articles about superhero fatigue. And we took almost over a decade to get a sequel to Incredibles, and to already want to get a live action version of that, to me, well, it is a great choice. But the problem is that people are going to easily associate that with the MCU, and now that Marvel is a part of Disney, it's just they're going to be two hand in hand.
Yeah, see, a couple things with your argument. First of all, you brought up about how Incredibles is a superhero movie. The difference between me bringing something that is popular right now and you bringing something that's popular is that all the remakes of the Disney princesses coming to live action have been horrible. They've been the originals were always better. When you and I say bring in Incredibles because there's not a family out there of superheroes. There's not a family of superheroes that has done well. Fantastic Four is the closest thing that we've had, and that did awful. This is our chance to kind of step out of the boundaries and actually make a superhero family film. That relationship between, the family just trying to protect each other while trying to save the day.
I would
that is a great story told.
The Ant-Man movies is like that, of the family protecting each other. You got the father-daughter relationships from all sides. And at the same time, family doesn't need to be like blood related. I mean, family can mean anything.
But that's what makes this one different. That's what changes this one up, is that this is an actual family that they're growing up together. They're raising children together. These children to come out with superpowers. They're having to go through school. Imagine trying to see dad trying to deal with his problems in a live action film.
Yeah.
In a school process. You combine that with the fact that the parents are superheroes fighting villains. You bring up the landscape of Brave. Well, guess what? I don't know if you remember Brave that well, but it's pretty much all jungle scenes. It's in the past, so it's all jungle scenes, which is very similar to Jungle Book. But that's my point. The Jungle Book was a live action.
It can change things. The live adaptation can improve and change things. You want to talk about all the live adaptation been failures? The Cinderella adaptation was able to change a few character choices within the character of Cinderella, within the stepmother, and within the prince, to where they're not just one note characters.
And remind me how well that film did.
That film. What, you want to talk about critical success? I can't pull up the Rotten Tomatoes screening, but as far as I can tell of all the remakes, that one is at least better than the Beauty and the Beast. It's better than Jungle Book. It's better than the Lion King, because it did something different. Just like the upcoming Mulan, it's going to change a few things from the original, and I think the same thing can be said of Brave, to where it's going to change a few adaptations from the original, not make Merida as much of a tomboy, but more of a three-dimensional figure.
Trying to figure out now you're trying to change the one thing that made her unique, that made her different from all the other princesses, is that she was more of a tomboy, that she was actually stepping out, going to war on her own, similar to Mulan, where she was actually going out doing. So you changing that will actually completely
I'm not changing her completely. I'm just adding.
You said change her from the tomboy. I'm just saying, you're changing it for the character completely.
I'm saying adding more layers to where she's three-dimensional, to where yes, she doesn't want to be married because she's fighting against the culture that she's being raised in. You can also say the way she is because of the way her parents raised her, to how her father spoiled her, how her mother just can't relate to her. So when the moment happens, when the mom becomes a bear from that curse, we can finally see why Merida is the way who she is, and how she has to struggle to relate to her mother and to become a better person.
Okay. Trading blows in this round for the Pixar movies. Final round. Okay, Ruben, we're going to use 60 seconds on the clock whenever you are ready. Defend your pick.
Whenever you're making a Pixar or any animated film into a live action adaptation, there has to be things you have to consider. You want to go ahead and look at the animation, how it would transfer over to a live action film. That's where Lion King fucked up, straight up. They made a mistake on that. You do that with Brave, it's going to ruin Brave as well. You want to look at the character development. Merida, throughout the film, she's pretty much very, like he pointed out, it's two-dimensional throughout the entire film. It doesn't do too much throughout the entire film. Whereas you look in Incredibles, you're seeing a family of supers build a relationship with each other. They are trying to live their lives as normal human beings throughout this futuristic universe where superheroes are shunned, that they're not allowed to reveal themselves anymore, and vigilantes are no more. But they have a need where they want to prove themselves. They want to go ahead and help and save people and protect people. And seeing a family, kids, a baby, being able to do those things, it will make things unique. It will make things different. I think the characters in Incredibles are much more unique, and they're more exciting and more fun to watch. Like Enemo is one of the most exciting Pixar characters ever. Whereas you look at Brave, you can't think of a single person other than the main character, Merida, who stands out. No one knows any of the other characters' name except for me, because I'm a huge Pixar fan. But the fact is that the characters in Incredibles stand out. People know Dash. People know Violet. They know they're superheroes. They know what each of them can do. You have so many different possibilities because there's a whole world of supers to use at your disposal as villains, heroes, however way you want to go with it. in a futuristic world, in a world that's different, also new landscape, and not something that's been done before while building off a family.
Okay. Pixar movies. Which one should they adapt to live action? Ryan, defend your pick. Clock starts whenever you're ready.
I think the one thing that we can definitely see when it comes to live adaptations, while despite the fact that Disney had messed up with The Lion King, they did the same mistake with Beauty and the Beast, but you're overlooking the fact of what they did with Cinderella and what they're going to do with Mulan. They're going to live adapt this material, but they're not going to change it too much where you can't recognize, but it's going to tweak it. And it's the same thing with Brave. You talk about recognizable characters. That's one thing a live adaptation can do. By getting actors who can be able to put emotion, to put dimension in these characters, you'll be able to not only associate yourself with Merida, also with her three little brothers. You can relate to the father, the king, he can either be played by Billy Connolly again, and also with the witch within who creates this curse. With The Incredibles, as much as the family the relationship is going to work, the problem is that it's going to unfortunately fall to the CGI use of it with the powers, especially with the baby of Jack, which sure, you can maybe hold off to the end, but at the same time, people are going to want to see that baby more. In Brave, CGI will most likely be used on the bear character and of Mordu, but you can rely everything else, which will be less cost effective, by using practical sets, by using the whole landscape of Scotland. You can get actual actors involved, so you don't have to worry about having to waste so much money on CGI just trying to have Merida's archery work or trying to get facial representation out of every other character except for only the bears. The thing with it, you can also tweak a character to where she's not just too tomboyish. She's tomboyish for a reason, because she's trying to fight back against the
time.
I have so much more.
Time. Okay, judges. What a round. Alan, I'm going to you first. Which one of these guys do you think had the better argument?
Well, both of them had very good arguments, but I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to go with Ryan, mainly because his opening statement, he said it would tend to use the landscapes and everything would suit live action more. Ruben hit him with the Lion King failure, but the Lion King was all CGI. And with Brave, you wouldn't have to do that. You use on-location landscapes, using real actors to portray these characters to make them more memorable. So I'm gonna go with Ryan.
All right, that's one for Ryan. The intensity of this match clearly getting to Ryan. Okay, Rubier, I'm gonna go to you next. Which one of these guys gets your point?
All right, yeah. I'm gonna just go off of what Alan said. This one was really, really close. I thought Ryan's opening was really well thought out. And I actually had Ryan going at first because I felt like he was really defending his movie more, while Ruben was trying to attack Brave instead of give me why The Incredibles was going. But that middle round, Ruben hit him hard with a lot of different points. But in the end, I think very, very, very slightly, his ability to have that opening and then close out and just continue to harp on why his movie was better gave me a slight edge for Ryan over Ruben. So I'm going Ryan as well.
All right, Ryan gets the point for this round, but I like to hear, I'm curious about what people think. Grant, what did you think about these two guys? Which one won the argument?
Well, I'll be as brief as I can. I pretty much got it written down that opening it was Ruben, then it was Ryan, then it was Ruben, then it was Ryan, and then I was like, no, Ruben, perfect ending, and then Ryan come back with the Jack thing. Basically, you're not going to really be able to separate the two, so you're going to have a live action thing with a completely CGI baby, and that if it came down to the thing, that would have been a thing that would have just tipped Ryan over the edge.
All right, so we have a 1-1 score now, which means we are going to hear all of our 4 questions that we have reserved for tonight. Okay, in the next round, in the category of DC, what is the worst character portrayed on Arrow. All right. So since this was your strength, Ryan, correct? So Ruben, you're going first. 90 seconds on the clock. Whenever you're ready. Which was the worst portrayed character on Arrow?
Straight up, you have to go to one of the most iconic villains in comics, and a character that is more notable for a Batman villain, brought into an Arrowverse, try to make a better story and tell a better story. And while he starts off strong by, stabbing Oliver Queen into the heart, he goes straight downhill, and he only lasts throughout like one season. His character just sinks, and he starts making dumb mistakes, and that's Ra's al Ghul. He's a character that is a phenomenal character in the comics. I absolutely love Ra's al Ghul, but he was underutilized in this franchise, and there's so much more he could do. It's not technically the actor's fault. It's just more so the story they decided to go with and what he was given, and they went the wrong direction because they didn't build upon this character, a character that could have been built upon for a villain for Oliver to face off against throughout the franchise, and they cut him off pretty early. I have a lot more to say, more specifically about my opponent's decision, but I'll concede the rest of my time for now.
Okay, going with Ra's al Ghul for Ruben. Interesting enough, he said Raz. So, Ryan, your turn. What is the worst portrayed character in all of Arrow?
With Arrow, when everyone likes to think of a character, it's always like the ones they kind of see more of, honestly. Like not just a recurring supporting character, but a recurring cast member who becomes a series regular. And ultimately for a character to be like not just underutilized, but also to be completely forgotten about at times, to be relegated to almost as a substitute for another character should be considered worse. And my choice is Dinah Drake. She got introduced around season 5, around the time Arrow was finally getting back up. She was brought in to be the replacement to Earth 1 Laurel Lance's Black Canary. And of course, the difference between her and Earth 1 Laurel Lance is that she actually had the Canary Cry, the Sonic Scream. She had a strong start in the middle half, but the moment season 6 started, that's when her character completely went downhill. They started giving her questionable decisions. They had her switch allegiances from Oliver to form her own new team for no complete reason. They also had her go one-on-one against Black Siren, the Earth 2 Laurel Lance, because, I don't know, reasons, vengeance, or the fact that she's evil. She gets no redemptive to her abrasive attitude. She's always trying to be the ball buster of the group, when the fact is she could have been what Diggle was to all of the differences is that she understands the vigilante side more than Diggle does. Instead, she's relegated to this back and forth, like trying to undercut each other situation. And I'm going to stop here before you could call my time.
Okay, Ryan and Ruben. First round of that question is over. Man, I'm glad I'm not judging tonight because I don't think I could have been biased on this round. All right, guys, 5 minutes on the clock. Whenever you want to start, whichever one you want to start, defend your choices. It's Ra's al Ghul versus Dinah Drake, the Black Canary.
No. Let's be honest, Ruben. Our characters, they were both given some teases and some build-ups early on in certain seasons. Like with Ra's, she got build up in season 2. Dinah, she was definitely to build up around early in season 5. That's just the difference between us is that, unfortunately, as much of a good idea of a villain that Ra's was, he was always meant to be a one-season villain, just like how Merlin was and how Slade was. Like, they're big bads. Sure, you can argue that Deathstroke and Merlin do return later on, but the problem was they don't become big bads later on. They get redeemed throughout that. Ra's, on the other hand, he's just meant to be the big bad. With Dinah, on the other hand, she's meant to be a supporting character, a supporting ally to Oliver Queen. And you think we were going to get that in season 5, but by the time season 6 comes, she turns into a whiny sidekick because she's not treated as an equal compared to how Oliver treats Diggle, Felicity, because he's known them longer. Instead, it's just more of, oh, I can't trust you because you're doubting me. Well, she's technically the new person in the team, and she herself makes bad decisions. Compared to Ra's, I mean, if you want to question his decisions, you can go right ahead.
Okay, perfect. All right. So a lot of things you said about Dinah is completely untrue. You said that she has no reason for turning against her team. She turned against her team because, like you pointed out earlier, you said that she could be the more investigative side that Diggle is. She could be more like that. She is. She turns against her team because she joins the captain of the cops, the police department, and she becomes a captain over there. And she's more loyal to staying away from the vigilante side and more towards the detective cops police department. So she wants to follow the law. Crazy that she wants to be a good person and follow the law. I mean, how dare she, right? Awful. You want to talk about,
but she's still being a vigilante.
No. I give you a chance to talk.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, that's my reasoning right there. Is that you're saying that she's trying to go and do what she thinks is right, and she actually has a redeeming arc. But she changes too. She doesn't just stay like that. At the beginning of, for instance, when she was first introduced, she was all vigilante, just wanted revenge, wanted to kill the people that murdered her fiance. And then he was brought back to life, and then she wanted to save him, and she hated Black Siren because of her killing her fiance. So that was a huge redeem arc where she goes from a straight up vigilante to a detective wanting to stay to the law. There's a whole arc there. Ra's al Ghul was never given that chance. He was a villain that was brought in. He came in, he stabbed Oliver in the heart at the end of, or close to the end of one season. And then all of a sudden, just like that, he starts going downhill. He starts making dumb decisions. He starts not planning things ahead, and he's easily outsmarted by Oliver, Merlin, all these people like throughout the franchise. So it's just like his character was a character that was starting to be built up and then just didn't do anything with it. They're just like, you know what? He's a name, whatever. We got him in there. Let's get him out. And boom, they dropped him. Dinah was a character that was built. She, at the near the end of the franchise, she led the Canaries, which was a younger group of heroes. She started building them up and preparing them for the future. So she did so much. There's not much more we could have done.
Exactly when from the season 7 flash forwards, because the problem with the flash forwards, it undercuts a lot of her tension of the character. Because when we get to see her in season 7, she has her throat cut, and of course, later in season 7, she gets her throat cut again. I mean, I'm sorry, but to me, with her character, sure, we see her as older, but her character is more angry and gruff. Sure, she might be a leader. I don't see her leading the Canaries. That is Zoe, the one she trained. Zoe is the one who's out there on the field leading the Canaries. She just sits back and just waits for Zoe to report to her. Now with Ra's, here's the thing with Ra's. The moment he did kill Oliver, yes, that was a high point. And then when Oliver survives, guess what happens with Ra's? He starts to decide, because he is someone who has had an extended, unnatural long life due to the Lazarus pits. And the fact he finds someone in Oliver to replace him, yes, he starts making dumb decisions because, let's be honest, he's not a great father, as you can see with Nissa, and that works toward how flawed he is as a character. The fact that he treats his daughter Nissa as
we got no time to build that up. That was just thrown in our face. There was no time to build that up. His character was just, like I said, it was one and done. You said it perfectly. You actually said it earlier. He was a one and done character. Ra's al Ghul was a one and done character. Can you believe that? That name pops up and he becomes a one and done. That is not what should have happened.
Prometheus was a one and done character. Adrian, Emiko were one and done characters.
All awful portrayals. That's why like other villains kept making their appearance. Dark, Merlin, all the good
Dark left Arrow and joined into Legends. We're seeing strictly into Arrow here.
No. Well, that's my point. It was a villain that was well used, so they decided to keep reusing it. And he does return in Arrow multiple times, actually. So you should probably catch up on your shows. But my point is that these characters are reused, the ones that I can build upon. Ra's al Ghul was never given that chance. They built him up and then they made him do dumb decisions. As you pointed off, he became a one and done villain, and that's it. They were done with him.
For the hero to beat them. That's the point of overcoming the big bad.
Time, boys. Come on, gentlemen. That was a good 5-minute round. Both of you trading jabs back and forth. I don't think I would have picked any of those characters. That's just for me. But we have another round to decide. So, 60 seconds on the clock. Ryan, what do you got?
I'm going to use my 1 minute extension.
He's using his 1 minute extension, so we got 2 minutes on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. 2 minutes on the clock whenever you're ready.
Everything that my opponent had brought about Dinah Drake, her being on the police force and wanting to follow the law, yes, that would make her a good person. The problem was that in season 6, when she was going through this arc, she at the same time was trying to get vengeance on Black Siren outside of the law. She leaves Oliver over a minor spat that honestly is actually the reason why she leaves Oliver is because her teammate Renee is all ratting out onto them to the FBI. And the fact that Oliver, who logically should be mad at Renee, she decides to join him because he can't trust her, because the fact that Renee turns on them and then he has to question everybody else. That's a legit reason. But Dinah, no, instead of understanding, she leaves. It's like a child throwing a temper tantrum. And she uses some of the stuff, her connections to the police force in order to chase Black Siren down. She uses the stuff that she does. I mean, you want to say she wants to be a good person? I can accept that. And I would love to see that. The problem was that season 6 didn't do a great job at that. So by the time season 7 came around, she's already a sergeant of the police, so she's given that aside. But even then, she is still. It's not until Oliver leaves prison she decides to have the police force and the team vigilantes join together. She still has a long way to go. And then even now with the Green Arrow and the Black Canaries, she's been relegated. She no longer exists in her timeline. So all of that character arc that she has been given is completely have been washed away. So all of that stuff that she could have been built towards from season 6, from season 7, even a little bits of season 8 of her finally becoming a good person, her depending on the law, walking away from being a vigilante. Guess what? For the new spin-off series, wiped clean. She no longer has that anymore. Ra's al Ghul may have been a one-done villain, but at least with him, we can remember exactly how underutilized he was, how he could have been seen as a returning character later on in Arrow. Instead, he's a one-done villain, and to me, that is a more better and peaceful death compared to the slow burn death that Dinah Drake had. I would rather have Dinah Drake be established as her own person, have her walk away from vigilantism as she did, like she could have done in season 7, have that in season 6 to where she is an antagonist to Oliver, instead of her trying to jump back and forth of being, can I be a good vigilante?
Time.
Crap.
Okay, Ryan, you used your 1 minute extension on that round, so you had 2 minutes.
Yep.
Ruben, your turn. Tell me why Ra's al Ghul is the worst Arrow character ever portrayed.
I'm not going to use my 1 minute.
All right, Ruben is also going to use his 1 minute. All right, 2 minutes on the clock. Whenever you're ready, sir.
2 words: character development. You actually helped me more than you hurt me. You've explained a very long story of Dinah. You talked so much about Dinah's arc, how she started out as a villain full with vengeance, and how she went all the way up to going by the law, and how she changed throughout the story. That is called character development. Thank you for completely laying out the whole groundwork for what she did. Ra's al Ghul, he stabbed Oliver in the heart. That's all. You haven't said anything about what else he did in the season because you don't remember what else he did in that season because he was utilized and was not used at all. All you remember is what Dinah did. That's very impressive because guess what? Dinah was utilized in a very great way and had character development. That's why you remember so much about her story arc. You want to talk about one and done. Ra's al Ghul, he was. You're absolutely right. He was one and done, and it was because his portrayal was so bad. They realized that they were going the wrong way, and they're like, all right, well, we got in it because we fucked up. They know they fucked up on this character portrayal. You want to talk about Oliver and Dinah? Dinah didn't leave because of Renee. Because she was mad about Oliver about the whole FBI thing. She left because Oliver didn't have trust in his teammates, and you have to have trust in team, and that's why she left. And she went to come create her own group with people that had trust in each other. I wouldn't want to work with someone that is supposed to be protecting me and making sure I don't die if they don't trust me. That makes no sense. We have to have trust if we're going to be a part of the team. You brought up how Dinah and Siren, she was all about vengeance against the Siren. You completely forgot they actually became really good friends near the end of the franchise. She forgave her for killing her fiance. She got past that. She built character and got over that. So that's completely wiped clean. So you need to completely drain down a mind because that doesn't matter. Your whole argument is contradictions. Everything you bring up, everything you do is actually just building up Dinah's character's arc. And I applaud you for that. Thank you. But you've said it right. You said it perfectly. Ra's al Ghul was underutilized, 100%.
All right, that's time, Ruben. Good use of your time. Perfectly 2 minutes. All right, wow. I am glad I'm not judging this round just because, thank God neither of you said Arsenal. Could you imagine how angry I would be? Okay, so Rue, here we go. Rue Moses, your pick. Which one won this round?
Coming out of the first round, I had it tied because I really like both of you all are talking about how they were underutilized. And I thought I would like really stick with Ruben because it was he's talking about one and done and underutilized. But Ryan, I really liked your argument about how you are worse underutilized when you have a long arc and then you're wiped away. But in the end, I think Ruben got you too much, man. I think that closing argument he utilized extremely well. So in order to cut everything down, and Ryan, I think you also kind of killed it when you yourself, right at the end of your closing, said yes, he was underutilized, but that just stuck in my head. And Ruben took it and just continued to turn it on his closing. So both good job, both of y'all. But I'm giving this one to Ruben.
All right, that's one for Ruben. Alan, who are you giving your point to?
Man, y'all argue the hell out of these points. And I was very fascinated that neither one of you, and this is coming from the actor side of me, didn't talk about the actual actors portraying the characters, which I thought was very interesting. Because both, in my opinion, aren't that great actor-wise. Neither one of you chose who I would have chosen, and I would have chosen Green Arrow himself. The main reason I don't watch that show. So I know, blasphemy. But yeah,
the best part.
But I think I'm gonna mirror what Rue said. You know, Ryan, you had some very, very nice. You were going pretty strong. Very good arguments, but the closer. I mean, Ryan got the opener with hands down, but Ruben got you with the closer, and he just said, "You just made my point for me," and you kind of did. So I'm gonna give it to Ruben.
Okay, amazing. I want to go to you next, Grant. Grant, which would you have given your point to?
First off, I'm glad that no one chose Emily Kinney's portrayal of the bee chick because I couldn't handle any more bee puns. That being said, I had it pretty much going right down the middle until the closing arguments. One thing that Ryan did say to me was it's better to burn up and bait out quickly than do a long run, which really stuck to me. I felt like Ruben spent the majority of his closing just purely and simply attacking things. I heard a little bit more on Ryan's character, and honestly, in my head, guys, I'm just going to sit on the fence and give this one a draw because I'm glad I wasn't second because I couldn't split it because I felt like Ryan made a really good point. You counted everything, but I hardly heard anything about why your character was worse. I just heard a lot of counterpoints. So that's me sitting on the fence.
I need to grab a charger.
All right. So, Ryan, you have failed this city. You have lost this round. And I got to say, I started this angry at Ryan and Ruben for picking characters that I love in this series, and I ended it being angry at Alan. Alan, come on, man, it's the CW. This isn't Academy Award winning. It's the CW. They're in Vancouver. They're working just like you. Come on, man.
I didn't talk about the actors because it was all on the writing and direction of the character for me.
Come on.
I mean, if that hurt me, then it hurt me.
Spaceman, I can't watch Arrow, but I can watch Legends all day.
So, thank you. Me too, brother. Me too. Yes. Yes.
Dare you?
I'm gonna pretend.
I'm sorry, but I can't handle another flashback. I don't need no flashbacks.
How did I not get that question? We're going to our fourth round, our fourth prepared question for these people. Category is Middle Earth. If not Frodo, who should be the one to take the ring to Mordor? Ryan, we're going to you first on this one. 90 seconds on the clock. Whenever you are ready.
In the what-if scenario of if not Frodo, who else would I choose to take the ring to Mordor? I would choose Peregrine Took, Pippin. Now, just in the movies, Pippin is kind of portrayed to be as an honest fool, someone who lucks himself. But for my choice, what I would do with Pippin is I would try to adapt some of his qualities from the book on how he's not much of a fool. He's more of a resourceful character. Him and Mary's their relationship, because the one thing that the movie Peter Jackson's movies did, unfortunately, I mean, he had a huge task. I won't ignore that, but the fact was that he bogged down these characters in one-dimensional notes. Pippin, while at times was kind of foolish, but the thing was, he was a resourceful character. Him and Mary in the Fellowship of the Ring were able to successfully navigate their way throughout the Shire to where they were able to help Sam and Frodo find the Prancing Pony to meet with Gandalf. Pippin, in the books, he was more adamant. He was stubborn to be part of this quest. He didn't just join this out on a whim because of adventure. He and Mary were aware of the task that was in front of them. They were aware of the dangers, and also, as I mentioned, as a resourceful, they're more quick on hand. They're able to adapt to a situation as they go to. Having Pippin take that, he can be used as a sample of because him being a naive character, or him being someone of pure innocence, as an example of what happens with the corruption of the ring would do to someone of pure innocence over time.
Time.
Crap.
The true enemy of us all time.
Yeah.
It's the true enemy. Ruben, you have 90 seconds of time. 90 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Whenever you're ready.
Easy answer. Samwise Gamgee. That's it. That's all I have to say right there. He was along with Frodo. Frodo wouldn't have been able to destroy the Ring of Mordor if it wasn't for Samwise Gamgee. He was there 90% of the time. The only time he wasn't was when Gollum screws him over. But let's talk about the qualities that would make him a better carrier than than Pippin, as more specifically. Samwise Gamgee is a person that is loyal. He's resourceful. He's very adaptable. He knows how to use the resources that are given to him throughout the trilogy. He brings them out all the time, and he's always there thinking about the next step. And there's times in the trilogy where he demonstrates his adaptability and his resourcefulness whenever he is portioning out the food and water that they have throughout the franchise. So that specifically right there, being resourceful and being adaptable is exactly what you need to get that ring over there. We both were smart enough to choose people that are hobbits because obviously if you read the books and movies, hobbits are the only ones that could probably do it. And I will get into more in my debate why Samwise Gamgee more specifically is a better choice than Pippin.
Okay, Ruben is conceding the rest of his time. That was a good first round by both of you. Ryan and Ruben, you got 5 minutes starting whenever the two of you speak.
All right. So I'll start off with saying I agree with you. Pippin was underutilized in the films from the books. However, the fact is the one thing that did carry over, or two more specific things. One, he is a jokester. He is naive. Those are things that are going to hurt him trying to get that ring. He does not get that ring to Mordor if he is playing around, joking around, having a ball. And he's not going to get that ring there if he's naive, trusting every little person, because Gollum will eat his ass up. So, but more specifically, the biggest thing that dragged me down about Pippin being a choice, Meriadoc actually had a better chance. The reason why I'm dragging you down from Pippin, I don't know if you remember this, but you know what the Palantir is? He touches it and he's easily influenced by it. It's a dark object that he touches and he easily becomes influenced and falls into it and is pulled into it. The fact that he was so quickly to fall into darkness and go for that dark object right away, that is only a tenth of the power of what the Ring of Power can do and its power of seduction. That right there tells me that Pippin will not even make it like anywhere close to Mordor, because he will give into the seduction of the ring.
If you kind of look at the films itself, Frodo in a way was kind of the same thing. Now, he may have had more resistance to the ring, but every now throughout the movie, he was always in this moment where he was this close to putting the ring on, or especially in the Two Towers and Return of the King, you see how the ring kept overpowering him so much. The reason why I think Pippin, sure, that was kind of forced in Return of the King. The reason why I'm thinking back towards the Fellowship is because it can happen over time. And with Pippin, with Pippin going on the journey and having Mary go along with him, we get an opportunity of Hobbit culture. Because when we see them, yeah, they're tricksters, they're jokers, he's naive. But at the same time, when he meets Gollum, sure, Gollum might take advantage of it, but the fact is, him being corrupted by that ring could almost be in a way of him relating more to Gollum, being able to wanting to help Gollum. Because with Frodo, he only says he wants to help him, but he doesn't give a plan why. With Pippin can say he wants to help him by trying to bring more of the river fellow out of him. I mean, with the Hobbit culture I mentioned, they can start singing songs, they can be using smoke pipe, and then throughout over the journey of the movies, how the ring takes its effect on him, he starts losing interest in singing. He stops wanting to smoke. He stops barely eating. So instead of having it explained to us, we can actually see it throughout the journey.
Okay. So here's my thing. First of all, I haven't heard Samwise Gamgee at all. You are completely comparing Frodo to your character. That Frodo, the argument isn't if Pippin's a better carry than Frodo. I agree. I think Pippin would have been a much better choice than Frodo. But I think Samwise Gamgee is a better choice than both of them combined. Because Samwise Gamgee, he actually held the rank for some time and he was able to pass it off back to Frodo. And then whenever they got to the mountain, whenever Frodo said no, he's keeping the ring, Samwise Gamgee was there. No, you have to destroy. You have to destroy. He was there fighting against the seduction of the Ring of Power to make sure that ring still gets destroyed.
He was fighting to help. Oh, okay. Now, yes, Samwise is a very loyal character, yes. But he's only that loyal because, and it's mainly for a good reason. He's loyal for the promise he made from Gandalf. But let's just say, other than helping Frodo move along, being suspicious of it, Sam, that's his main trait. I don't, and his other than being resourceful and loyal, there is no other main trait with him.
But this is an argument of what we would rather see. This isn't an argument. You were talking about how you want to see Pippin's being slowly seducted. But yeah, you want to see him seducted. How it'd be interesting. The argument is who should carry the ring, and Pippin has shown that he is easily seducted by the power of the dark. Like he gave it to the Palantir right away.
Anyone can be it. Okay, go ahead.
Samwise had demonstrated that he was able to push it back off of him. He was able to give the ring back to Frodo, and he was able to resist the power on the Mordor. So he was able to resist the power, whereas Pippin demonstrated that he was not. That right there is the key factor. And then you brought up earlier, you're like, oh well, Pippin is naive.
Was rushed.
Okay, but Pippin, even in the books, it's the same situation. But when you bring up Pippin. How Pippin, he is naive and stuff, but he'll have Merry. Well, this argument isn't if Merry and Pippin together should bring the ring to Mordor. It's if Samwise Gamgee or Pippin should bring the ring. So that was Pippin without Merry, the ring doesn't get to Mordor.
I said, what if?
No, but that's the argument I'm trying to make is that Samwise can get the ring to Mordor or by himself if need be. I don't think Pippin can do it. No, he needs Merry, and even with Merry, I think them two together couldn't get the ring there. They will easily be seducted.
I believe they could get it together. And also with Pippin and Merry together, let's in my what if scenario from Fellowship, let's say after what happened when Boromir dies, Pippin and Merry find Frodo and Sam to continue on the journey, but through unfortunate circumstances they get separated, and then Pippin has the ring, and then it's him and Merry. They're on their way.
With Pippin and Merry, about Merry and Pippin. Drop Merry. Look at Pippin. That's what the argument's about.
If you're going to talk about Samwise cannot do it alone. The part that you need
you
need a partner in crime.
Time. Okay. We are going to the final round. Okay. Ruben, 60 seconds on the clock. What do you got? Defend your pick.
Proof, evidence. That right there, we've seen it demonstrated by Samwise Gamgee. We have not seen it demonstrated by Pippin. Samwise proved he is resourceful by showing that he can ration out the food and water to get them to Mordor. He proved that he's not naive. He did not trust Gollum from the start, and Gollum was a sneaky little shit throughout the franchise. And you look at you look at who was the one that was able to resist the power. Pippin was immediately pulled into the Palantir, which was something that was dark, full of darkness, and was meant to seduce people. And whereas Samwise Gamgee was not seduced, he gave the ring back and he was ready to destroy with Frodo at the end of the Return of the King, proving that Samwise can resist the darkness, the seduction of the ring, whereas Pippin cannot resist. His argument is that Merry Dog is going to help him get there because he's naive, he's foolish. He said it himself. This isn't about the two of them. It's about one, Samwise or Pippin.
Okay, that is Ryan's last statement for this round. Ryan, that was Ruben's last statement. Ryan, what do you got? 60 seconds on the clock. Whenever you're ready, defend your pick.
My opponent honestly keeps hammering the fact that Pippin is naive. While it might be a catch-22 with his character, but the fact was him being naive means he's more open to see hopefulness in the world. Sure, it leads him to be tricked. Yeah, him being seduced by the Palantir is one thing, but in Return of the King, the moment he shows up to the city of Mirror's Tooth, he devotes himself to Denethor because of a debt he owes to Bern. And even then, that debt he owes, if he's also put into a forced situation to where his character grows. I'm suggesting throughout the Fellowship of the Ring and throughout the entire books, Pippin's nature can be dwindled by how powerful that ring is. And the fact I mentioned Merry because Frodo did not get the way he was without Sam. If you're saying that Sam's going to go alone, what's to stop him from eventually being seduced by the ring when he encounters Gollum? What's going to stop him from being seduced when he comes across the Shelob? With Merry and Pippin together, you see more open opportunities for back and forth. You also see the opportunity when they split up, it's for a legit reason because of the corrupting nature of the ring. And at the same time, the culture of the Hobbit culture, the fact that Merry's spirit is dwindled down.
Time.
I wish I didn't use my minute for DC now.
Hey, you both used your minute for DC. So
no, I'm the only one to use my minute for DC.
No, I used mine
did.
too.
You both did.
I used it too.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Responded. Yeah, you used two. He used two. It was a good balance. So, without further ado, Grant, who are you giving your points to in this round? Middle Earth.
For starters, these are all wrong. The answer should have just been the eagle. I mean, he could have just flown over there. He's getting controlled anyway, but that's besides the point. I think it came down to one thing. I think Ryan had some really strong arguments with Merry and Pippin as a group with their bond, but I think the problem was he only picked one of them. I think if he said Merry and Pippin, it didn't say a single person in the question. It said who should, and if he said Merry and Pippin, and he went with that, I think he would have just edged Ruben out. But unfortunately, because he mentioned the one, and Ruben was able to counteract that, I'm gonna have to give my point to Ruben.
All right, we got 1 point for Ruben in this fourth round. Alan, who are you giving your point to?
Again, love the passion from both of you. Love the arguments for the wise and love the kind of counter arguments for the other characters. Yeah, I'm with Grant. It didn't say only one character. You could have picked a team of characters. And I think that was kind of implied with Ryan because it was the original group of people that accompanied Frodo, not just Frodo by himself. So I think any one of these characters could have had other people with them. So I'm not going to ding Ryan for that. I actually think he had an avid point there because that's what would have made his character stronger, would have made Pippin stronger, was having Merry with him. I honestly think Sam by himself probably wouldn't have succeeded as much as Ryan says he was. Ruben said he did because Ruben had some very good arguments as to proof that Samwise was resourceful, was able to resist the power, and that sort of thing. But I think Ryan just kind of tweaked it a little bit more for that he could have done it, and using his resources, which is the other people, his other friends. So I'm gonna give it to Ryan.
All right. So the decision lies with you, Rue Moses. Is this the end of it? Are you giving the point to Ruben, or are we going to overtime with Ryan?
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so very much for that. So I actually, at this point, do agree with Alan in terms of I don't think Ryan missed out on that opportunity. I think even though he didn't explicitly say it, Pippin and Merry and Merry are a duel. They are together, and I could get that argument. And for the majority of the round, though, I felt Ruben just had more points and more evidence and put Ryan behind the 8 ball. And Ryan, I was just waiting for you to say Pippin and Merry are a duo. Pippin and Merry they must go hand in hand, just like Frodo and Sam did. And if you would have said that just a little earlier, you could have focused more on that, but you said it so late, your time ran out. And that was the one where I was like, Ryan, you're behind. But if you get this and you hit on it, you can take it. And just because you took a little too long for me to get that point across and you ran out of time, I'm giving this point to Ruben.
And your winner and new #1 contender in Nerd Fights, Ruben, you got this. You're the #1 contender now. So first, we'll go to our second place winner, or second place finisher, not the winner. Ryan, how'd you do in this round? How'd you do with this game? I thought you did a good job. You took Ruben to the ropes. I mean, you got nothing to hang your head about, man. You got a long way in this league, and you're one of the faces of this place. What do you got to say?
I'm really at a loss for words. I mean, I'm not going to challenge any of the judges' decisions. There are some good points being made. It's just I knew going in with Middle Earth, Pixar, Bond, all of these questions. It wasn't to me. It was kind of like really trying to paint the picture. So I guess my biggest flaw in this was focusing too much on painting the picture, on making the argument, and instead of giving more facts and giving more facts in regard. I mean, that's the only reason. That's definitely what took me down with Bond. If I had focused on bringing in more facts, why mine bet was better. But that just shows exactly how more lasered in Ruben was on his answers. And yeah, I mean, this was a good fight. I mean, to be honest, it's amazing how I thought this was going to be like, oh, I win in Ruben's strengths and he wins in my strengths. But, that's just how the cookie crumbles in this situation. And it also shows exactly how prepared we were going in, exactly knowing which one of us was strong in a certain subject. I mean, I did Bond out of a win because I thought this could be fun to do. And yeah, being my first match in Nerd Fights, yeah, nothing to hang my head on. Hopefully definitely moving forward. If I want to still fight in Nerd Fights, I'm definitely going to not be picky on my subjects, but really branch out even more to really challenge myself, because Middle Earth was one hell of a goddamn challenge. And I was doing rewatching of the Lord of the Rings movies before I even got these questions. So I think this sort of worked towards me, but it also hurt me.
All right. Ryan, great job tonight. Ruben, you're our winner, #1 contender. How do you feel about that?
I feel good. I think this makes me 3-0 now, which I believe is Sean's record, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, hey. I was just talking about you, actually. Good timing, buddy.
Uh-oh, we have a challenge here.
I had to wake up because that last fight was boring the hell out of me. Good God, you guys.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
The big God is here. And Ruben, just like I expected, because the real #1 contender dropped out, which was my partner, Kurt Kowalkowski. Naturally, you're the sloppy seconds. So that's who I'm playing at Debate Kingdom is the commish, Ruben.
This is unprecedented, guys.
And yeah, it is, Nick. Your Sean Two Belts is here to say congrats, Ruben. Enjoy the win. Alan, I see you smiling up there. Are you still recovering from your beatdown? Oh yeah, send all the llamas you want to me. They make great meat. Anyway, Ruben, I'll see you at Debate Kingdom, and after I beat the ever-living crap out of you, which also Andrew James Barr says, I hope you recover well after this beating and Godspeed. Sean Two Belts will be 2 down, 1 more to go, and Nico, I will take your title and be Sean 3 Belts.
That was an interruption, people.
Champion out.
Ruben, I don't know what to say to that. I was interrupted completely. I don't know what happened. Ryan, you were kicked off the stream. That was chaos. Ruben, please tell me you have something.
Yeah, he has nothing on me. Like, he talks about how he's the greatest debater right now. He's the debate god right now. Last I checked, he's 3-0 with 1 knockout. I'm 3-0 with 1 knockout. So there's nothing that he has on me. This is his first time facing me. He's never faced me before. Sorry, buddy, but it's true. He shit on Alan for beating up Alan in a match. Alan, didn't we have a match actually? I think I beat you too. Actually,
yeah. You beat me too. You beat me too.
So,
but I think I don't know. But you know what, Ruben, I'm behind you. I want you to go there and destroy that man. Destroy that man. Get vengeance for both of us. Take him down.
Yeah. Alan said
I was
it perfectly.
neutral until you mentioned the knockout. Now I'm saying wrap it up, guys. Wrap it up.
Well, let me just say that I'm looking forward to facing him. I'm looking forward to showing everybody that he can bleed, he can lose, and I'm going to prove that to everybody at Debate Kingdom. I fought for this a lot harder than he has. I literally had to face 3 people without me knowing who they were going to be, like literally like days before, because Kirk did drop out. I had to face Ryan out of nowhere. Kirk dropped out again. I had to face Nikki earlier.
And
then
time.
So
all right, everybody, that was Dirt Fights. We have a new #1 contender, Ruben. We're going to have a championship match after this one. So everybody, for myself, Rue Moses, Alan, Grant, Gregory, we got it all. Thank you for joining us, and good night.